Welcome to this practice. We'll be exploring the chakra system today. Our focus is going to be primarily on the first four chakras, first, second, third, fourth. Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata. We will touch on the fifth and sixth chakras as well, but towards the end of class, Vishuddhi and Agnya chakra. And then the Sahasrara chakra, you'll have a sense of that being aligned because the other chakras coming into alignment can produce better support and a better conduit of your energy overall. The practice is focused on these chakras as we're coming into the spring season in the Pacific Northwest. And first chakra is earth element, second chakra is water element. So spring combines those two elements in the Kapha dosha. So this practice is also going to be helpful for your doshas. And to understand more about the science of the chakras and the doshas, please check out our yoga teacher training school. It's too much to get into here in the first snippet of a whole class, but there are ways to learn more about this and to study these two systems and how they benefit your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Okay, let's go to practice now. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to, leave me questions and comments down below the video as well. I always appreciate that. Okay, let's go to practice now. See you there. Welcome for practice. Let's start with a comfortable seat together. You can rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes and come into the seat that you use for centering. And it's a kind of centering no matter what. Time change, windstorm, constant rain, centering in yourself, no matter what. Mood fluctuations, maybe a headache or digestive changes, no matter what. We're going to come into this place of centering. And so as you drop in, you can picture it like if you were to drop a stone into a body of water, it would sink down slowly, slowly, having some kind of journey, but it would find its way to the base, the bottom of the pond. Allow your mind to sink down, kind of going past mental activation, mental narrative, and drop down to the place where you connect to your own sense of root, your sense of your base. And that is called the Muladhara chakra. The root, Mula, Dhara, the Muladhara chakra. As you connect to your root, see if you can also breathe in with a sense of contact at the pelvic floor for both inhale and then also for your exhale. Make a gentle effort to lengthen your inhale, to lengthen your exhale. You can imagine that you're setting up a rhythm of equanimity, a rhythm of evenness between inhale and exhale, which is also going to be the rhythm of more optimal heart rate variability, a more ideal sense of your metabolic rhythm, your daily rhythm, the circadian rhythm, all the rhythms that your body is subject to. You're kind of conducting that right now by inhale and exhale at the root. And add to your awareness from the root. Start also adding the low belly, the place between the pubic bone and your navel. So this region, the watery region of the pelvis. related to the Svadhisthana chakra, the second chakra. You can breathe in such a way as you start at the pelvic floor and let the breath expand to include the base and this low abdomen second chakra region. The exhale also begins at the pelvic floor, and you can tone the low abdomen as if you were pulling up a little zipper. And then add into your awareness the third chakra, so near the solar plexus, the spleen, the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, the stomach, adrenals, kidneys. Coming to the third chakra, the Manipura chakra. So the inhale begins at the base and then includes these expansive places. Second chakra, third chakra. Exhale also begins at the base and comes up through the inner belly, up towards the solar plexus. You'll feel an internal tone that supports the exhale. And then let's add the fourth chakra, the Anahata chakra in the heart, the upper chest, the upper back, the sides of the rib cage. So now the inhale is concentrically expansive, moving up even into the armpits and the collarbones. And exhale equal to the inhale, but also toning. As the exhale moves up, you may sense it tops out at a certain place near the diaphragm, but the exhale breath will continue musculoskeletally. It'll have a sense of completing with the diaphragm and muscles, the intercostals in the rib cage, though the exhale breath will still be going out through the nose. Let's do 3 more breath cycles in this way. So inhale, balance to exhale, looking for the rhythm of equanimity, which is called upeksha in Sanskrit. When you complete the next exhale, go ahead and relax the breath and the meditative process that we've been going through. And use mental observation to notice any changes for you since you've arrived for the practice. My hope is that you have a sense that you are lighting up these areas, these energetic centers called the chakras. You can picture that as if you were lighting something that had holes in it, like one of those lanterns that we have in the summer, and its light shines out at the first level, then the next level, the next level, the next level, that there's a kind of radiance or a tejas, a luminosity that comes back to you just by using the breath. You've now positively influenced your heart rate variability, your lymph system, your digestion, your metabolism, your nervous system, all in just a few breath cycles. We included first, second, third, and fourth chakra because that's the region of our respiration in the trunk. The other chakras will benefit from these 4 chakras being aligned. So then fifth, Vishuddhi, is in the throat, the Agnya chakra between the eyebrows, and Sahasrara in the crown of the skull. They're also benefiting from clearing up the debris down below. Please raise your hands to your heart. May this practice protect and nourish and strengthen you. May this practice also bring that tejas back. Wherever it's been dimmed or dulled, may it come back brightly. And may you be able to have this journey without any apprehension or aversion or animosity towards yourself or others. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Savidyang Karavavaye Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidveshavaye Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Savidyang Karavavaye Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidveshavaye Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Savidyang Karavavaye Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidveshavaye Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. You may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Open your eyes as you're ready to. You may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Please open your eyes. So today we will do a practice moving through the chakra system, and it's because it's spring season, and it's a wonderful time to reconnect to earth and water elements. It's the Kapha season, Kapha dosha. So earth element is the first with Muladhara, water element is the second with Svadhisthana. And the other elements come up to the fifth chakra. So let's start for the first chakra. I'd like you to come into a position that you feel comfortable with in terms of squatting. So let's do it like this. So some of you have less ability to squat than others. Put a couple blocks in front of you, like so. And then find a blanket, put your heels on. And I'm recommending that you support your heels in the event that you don't have very flexible ankles or hips. So it's going to give you more ease in coming down to a squat. And let's make the feet parallel. They can be just about 1 fist distance apart for right now. And then first come over to Uttanasana. That means you can touch the floor or you can touch the blocks. And breathe in smoothly and deeply, looking for the evenness of inhale and exhale. Take your time so the inhale may be long and smooth. We're in no hurry. The exhale concentrated and steady without extra force at the end of the exhale. So the quality of lengthening your exhale begins at the beginning of the exhale breath, not as a strain at the end of the exhale breath. Okay, and then bend your knees and come down. So you have your hips dropping down towards your heels. Let's start with the knees and the armpits connecting. The blocks may not be relevant right now, but you'll see soon how we can use them. So the knees are in the armpits. The armpits are over the knees, keeping them warm. Drop the hips back. Support your heels to the fullest extent that you need to let the hips drop down into a squat. That means that your knees have come up. The back of the body will be more broad. You might notice that this expansive inhale comes into the sides and the back of the torso. Allow the breath to find its way down into the pelvic basin at the pelvic floor. Here's inhale and exhale, both causing an influence on, a positive influence on the pelvic floor. With every inhale, the pelvic floor expands slightly, it's elastic. With every exhale, the pelvic floor tones slightly. Okay, now please raise your arms forward. Press into all 10 toes and transition to the toe balance pose. And that's where you might put your blocks for your knees, for those of you who need that. So that it's toe balance. And ideally, you're not using the blocks, you're balancing on the toes. So you see, I picked my knees up from there. I'm not touching, but you might be touching for support. That is okay. In the toe balance pose, you want there to be a lap. So if your cat came in, there'd be a place for them to curl up. So breathe in. And then exhale down to squatting. Inhale to the toe balance pose. Exhale to your squat, malasana. Inhale, toe balance. Exhale one more time to malasana. So you're working the ankles here and the calves. That's going to be beneficial for your lymph system. Now inhale, rise up with the arms. Exhale, tone the pelvic floor. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale in chair pose. And inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. Exhale, float the arms wide, let them come down. Step behind your blanket roll. Okay, now the heels are grounded, but the toes are elevated. Right, come down to Uttanasana. You might feel the calves stretching quite a bit. Let's press all 10 toes onto the blankets, and working with the arches of the feet, the ankles, and the calves, we're going to be also accessing the legs and then into the pelvic floor. So on the inhale, rise up high on your tiptoes. Exhale, lower your heels and bow the torso towards your legs. Raise the toes off the blanket if you can. Inhale, rise up on your toes. Exhale, lower the heels. Raise the toes, bring your torso towards your legs if you can. Inhale, raise up on the toes, lift the sitting bones. Exhale, lower your heels. Raise the toes, complete the exhale. And one more time, inhale up onto your toes. Okay, now exhale, keep the toes where they are, heels lifted, bend your knees and reach the torso forward. Come into a variation on toe balance. And see if you can come down to a toe balance pose where you're not on stable ground. So your toes have to work a little bit more. You're on a blanket that's rolled up or folded. Okay, and then raise the arms. And now inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. You're on the toes. And exhale, lower the heels down, release your arms. So the blanket may be at the middle of your arch right now. The heels can be on the ground. As you drop down to connect to the heels, notice what happens in the pelvic floor. You might put your attention at the back hemisphere of the pelvic floor or near to the tailbone. Now place the feet forward again. This time put the feet together. So the inner arches will be touching, the big toes are touching. Of course, based on the shapes of your feet, you have to accommodate. Some of you might have bunions, which makes it very hard to bring the inner edges of the feet together. And bunions are not just happening in the toes, they're influencing your knees and your outer hips and also your lower back. So please be kind to yourself. Okay, come down to Uttanasana with the feet together. And breathe in. And then exhale, come down to squat. Okay, if you're pregnant, separate the knees, right? If you need to do that. Otherwise, we're going to keep the knees close. Put the armpits over the knees again. Notice the breath is now required to move into the back hemisphere of the body, especially since the knees and thighs are so close and the armpits are snug over the knees. As you breathe in, allow the pelvic floor to expand if you're able to connect with it. Some of that expansion is near the tailbone. On the exhale, as you tone the pelvic floor, you can concentrate on some of that tone being near the pubic bone, kind of like the front hemisphere of the pelvic floor. Okay, now with the legs touching, unless you're pregnant, then you do have the knees separated right now. But let's see if we can come into toe balance pose with the thighs and knees together like this. So raise the heels. We're not actually sitting on the heels. You might be touching the heels, but we're not resting a lot of body weight on the heels. And then inhale, raise the arms. Okay, exhale to your squat. Inhale, toe balance with the arms up if you can. Exhale to squat. Curl in and low to the pelvic floor. One more time. Inhale to toe balance. And then exhale, tone the lower belly and rise up to chair pose. Inhale, rise up to upward hands pose. And exhale, arms wide. Step in front of your blanket and take a wide stance. We'll keep the blanket. We need it for one more thing. So as you now place the feet out wide, notice if you have a feeling that the arches might be a little bit more lifted than they would be otherwise, because we had all that work in the feet. And your arch muscles are like little springboards to keep your body having a cushioning system. So it's not all taken up just by the spine, the place between each vertebrae. There's a little cushioning device. And we also have this for our arches and the ankles, the knees, and so on. Okay, come forward to Prasarita Padottanasana. You can use the blocks or you can set them aside. Let's enjoy a long, deep breath in through the nose and a complete exhale out through the nose. And then shift your right hip high, keep both legs straight, but shift your hips to the right so the right hip is higher than the left. And you might have the feeling that the inner left thigh is stretching quite a bit. You might also sense that your left leg is longer than your right leg for a moment. With your exhale, glide over to the other side. Use the outer right hip to strengthen the shift to your left. Breathe in. Exhale, shift to your right, using the left outer hip to guide the action. Like a slow motion typewriter bar. We're going to inhale while we're here. And then exhale across to the left. And that is the slow motion typewriter bar. Breathe in. Exhale to the right. One more time, inhale. And exhale, glide across to your left. Shift back to center, please. Raise your hands to your hips and rise up to standing. Once you come up, turn the toes out, turn the heels in, and come down to the jazz dance warm-up pose. Okay, so now we're going to start including the second chakra in our awareness. We're not leaving the first chakra, we're just adding on. So as you drop down like this, a couple of cautions. If you are pregnant or you have hyperlax joints, it's not a time to exploit that. So come down not lower than the knees. Press into both arms and hands. And include tone at the pelvic floor. As you breathe in, the inhale still begins in the low pelvis and then includes the back and the sides of the waist. On the exhale, as you're toning the lower abdomen, also lengthen your inner thighs from the inner groin out to the knees. Now let's inhale, raise the right heel high. Exhale, lower that down. You might notice that when you raise one heel in this position, let's go to the left, that it changes the shape of the pelvic floor very slightly. Exhale, lower the left heel down. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. Inhale, left. Exhale, down. And now inhale both. So both heels come up. Exhale, both heels down. So it's not that the entire pose is moving all that much, but the knees are moving. So you inhale, raise the heels, the knees go up. Exhale, lower the heels. There you go. Twice more. Breathe in. Exhale, lower down. Of course, at the pace of your breathing, not at the pace of my breathing. One more time. And exhale. Now, since we've kept some tone at the pelvic floor and the lower back is not being exploited, you ought to have the energy to float the arms out in front. So you're not relying on the lower back to hold up the torso. The trunk is sitting over the pelvis. We don't have a flat back. It's not a thing anyway. The spine has curves, but we're not exploiting the lumbar curve right now. So drop the tailbone down, lengthen the inner thighs out. Interlace your fingers, heels of the hands forward. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, press out and down to come up to standing. And then let's turn the toes in. We'll go heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Come to mountain pose. And pause and notice, where does energy feel like it's alive in your body right now? Where do you sense things are circulating? I sometimes like to say there could be a feeling of effervescence. Right? Okay, and then put your heels on your blanket once more. And come down to Uttanasana. Let's put the inner edges of the feet together. And this time we're going to come down to a squat. Some of you will want your blocks to be within reach. In this squat, we're going to deliberately open the knees wide. So the arms are inside the knees. What you can do if you have the flexibility for it, the knees go on the outsides of the armpits. We put the palms together. The inner edges of the feet are touching, palms are together, and you can gently press the elbows and the upper arms out. The knees will go wider. Let's bring attention to the first and second chakra here, Muladhara and Svadhisthana. Notice the breath in the lowest part of the pelvis, but also including that place between the pubic bone and your belly button, the back of the pelvis, the sides, and then the back of the waist, the diaphragm, the kidneys, the side ribs. Okay, and then place your hands on the floor in front of you or on some blocks and come up to a wide toe balance, right? So you can see that my feet touch there, the heels are touching like that, and the big toes are touching. It's a wide toe balance pose. You may choose to put your blocks under your knees if you need to, if your canoe is tipping left to right. Press the knees out, root the tailbone down. Okay, and then let's bring the knees back in together. And please inhale, rise up to standing. And exhale, step forward of your blanket and come to mountain pose. The other reason we're focusing on the inner thighs there is not just to make contact with the second chakra, the Svadhisthana, with these more open positions. It's also because on the inseam of the leg, you have your liver, kidney, and spleen meridians in Chinese medicine. Those are really important organs, particularly in the spring season, of course, in your entire life spectrum, but they have an active role in cleansing the blood now and preparing you for what's coming from winter into spring. Okay, so the position that we were just in, let's do one more thing here in this sequence while we have our yoga props. Come down to sit on your two blocks like a little bit of a bench. So they're stacked together like this. And some of you will not need two blocks to sit on as a bench. However, I benefit from two blocks as a bench for this. And then we're going to put the soles of the feet together again. So you go like so. You're doing your best to bring the heels and the mound of the toes together right there. Sit up straight and tall if you can. Try not to overarch the back. So if what's happening is that the wider you take the knees, the more the lower back feels like it has to arch. That would be indicating in your hip sockets that you may have hip joints that point more forward, not more sideways. In which case the knees may have to come a little bit forward to line up with your hip joints. So we're not going to push bones against bones here. Then take your left hand down and hold the ankle. Take the right hand down, hold the ankle. So you're aiming to bring the heels into a more vertical position here. At the same time, you're stretching the inner thighs and your wrists. I don't know if ancient yogis knew we were going to have cell phones and computers and that this would stretch the wrists and the thumbs, and maybe even you're stretching your elbows or your forearms. But hold on here at the ankles. I'm just moving my fingers so you can see them, and then pull up. And breathe evenly between inhale and exhale. Now, if you were an ancient yogi, or maybe even a modern yogi who had the flexibility for this, you would be doing this same position. However, you would not be sitting on green blocks. You'd be sitting on the floor, and your heels would be in your navel, because that's how much flexibility you would have. You would be sitting behind your feet. The heels would still be up vertical like this. You would be able to hold on to the ankles, and the heels would be just below the navel in the second chakra region. So they would be up in that lower abdomen. We have to visualize that because we can't likely get our heels to touch that place right now. Okay, let's release the hands and arms and bring the feet around to flat. If you'd like to try that at some point to sit down behind your heels, I welcome you to play with it, to explore it. You have to have flexible enough toes and flexible enough ankles and inner thighs to do it. And it may not be your life pursuit, but it could be something enjoyable to look at a picture of a yogi doing that and then to see what capacity you may have. A lot of that means not just limberness in the joints, but that there's not a lot of debris in the system. The lymph system is not backed up. We're not holding a lot in the body. And so the flexibility is there that's energetic or pranic, not just musculoskeletal or genetic. Okay, next one and last part of this particular section for the series, we'll be shifting gears in a moment. Let's take a seat on the blanket in Baddha Konasana. We're going to stay with the chakras when we make this switch, and you may be feeling, oh, good, we're going to have a switch. And then you might feel when we get there, oh, I want to go back to what we were just doing. So please hold the big toes, press your knees down, lift the heart up. This is Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, Baddha Kona Asana, Baddha Konasana. Press the feet against each other. You can telescope the knees out from the hips. That means lengthen your inner thighs towards your kneecaps. Move the breath again so it's even between your inhale and your exhale. If the breath is smooth and equal and you feel that between the first, second, and third chakra, there's a good balance. And then exhale and come forward, whatever amount is appropriate for you. And then please rise up to sitting. Let's be a little bit playful for a moment while we can. Scoot forward of your blanket. So you're sitting on your sitting bones. Go ahead and take the big toes and see if you can pick up your Baddha Konasana. So you're actually balancing. Pick up your Baddha Konasana. Lift the heart, set the shoulders back, widen the collarbones. And then you can use any English or Sanskrit word you want for this raising of the toe, something like we, W-H-E-E, we, here we go. Or some other, maybe you feel like laughing or crying. Okay. And draw the legs back and the heart up. And then exhale and bring the feet back to Baddha Konasana, and without crashing on the outer edges of your feet, touch them down and roll forward. Okay, let's put the blanket aside. Unless you don't have very much padding, then you're going to want to open that blanket for your knees. Otherwise, you can put it aside. And please come over to kneeling. And this is where you might be, oh, thank God that part's over. My inner thighs, my feet, my ankles, which you're going to need those for hiking and gardening and cycling and all the things of spring that you want to be doing. So your thought, oh, the relief may also be premature when you see what we're going to do next. So let's come to table pose. Put the big toes together, then step the knees out about as wide as your yoga mat. And reach your hips back towards your heels. Press with your hands so that your hips do make it to the heels. Of course, if you don't have the knee flexibility or the hip flexibility for that, you don't have to touch. You're not going to get a magical moment. If the hips don't touch the heels, you will not be missing out on something. But reach back to the best of your ability. And then walk the hands forward, whatever amount your upper chest and shoulders can do. Okay, now inhale, shift forward to table. Curl the toes under. Exhale up to downward dog pose. Okay, inhale forward to plank. Exhale, touch the knees down wide on the mat and reach back to this version of child's pose again. Inhale, table. Notice what it's like when the knees are wide in table pose. It changes the experience of the groins, the hips, and the pelvis. Curl the toes under. Inhale up to downward dog pose. Exhale forward to plank pose. Breathe in, lower the knees, take them wide, touch them down to the wide edge of the mat. Exhale, reach back to child's pose. Inhale forward to table pose, knees still wide. Bring the soles of the feet together if it's comfortable for your ankles to do so. Curl the toes under. Inhale, downward dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, lower the knees slowly like there's a parachute on the back of the body. Take your knees out as wide as the mat and reach back once more to child's pose. This time, shift to your elbows. And now bring your hips forward until they line up with your knees and scooch the knees apart. And this is what I was foreshadowing for you, is that some of you may find this to be highlighting areas that may have been ignored. I don't know. So knees are going wide, and let's line the knees up with each other and the hips with the knees. So you're not forward of your knees and we're not back behind the knees right now. Angle your tailbone towards your toes. So the lower back is going to stay broad right through here. It should not feel like you're sagging in the low belly or the lumbar spine right now. Keeping that sense of tone in the low belly and the broadness of the lower back, shift very slightly forward. And then shift back to neutral. You might do that with your exhale. Inhale, come very slightly forward. And exhale, glide back to what would be neutral. The hips are not yet going behind the knees. Inhale, shift forward. It's a little bit of movement, not a whole lot of movement. And exhale back to neutral. And now we're going to go from what we call tadpole pose to frog pose. So let's put the feet out to the side. Watching out for your water glass. Mine's right there. Point the toes out to the sides, point the soles of the feet towards the wall behind you. We used to do this at the yoga studio with the feet up against the baseboard. That way we knew where our feet were. You can sense it now and lengthen the tailbone down towards the yoga mat. And then inhale a little bit forward. Keep the back waist broad as you exhale back towards neutral. So it's knee to hip to knee. Inhale a little forward again. A little bit back. And one more time, inhale forward. Let's bring the big toes together and exhale, glide your hips back now behind your knees. You can stay on the elbows. In fact, you may find that you can straighten your arms and reach the hips back towards the heels. And then walk your hands back to the place near your shoulders, press down against the floor. And let's see, for those of you for whom it's comfortable to do so, you're going to come up to a wide version of Vajrasana. So what's happening here is your knees are out wide still. We want the tailbone to go down. We don't want to be overarching the lower back. So it's like the outer hips, they tuck under. We're not going to flatten the lower back. That's again, we don't need a flat spine, but we want to have a sense of broadness in the lower back region right here. Okay, and then let's bring the knees in and come to Vajrasana. You've had a lot of circulation now in the lower hemisphere of the body. So really highlighting those first two chakras because we need a lot more connection to earth and water elements in our bodies. We spend a lot of time in our heads in this society and other societies too. We spend a lot of time in the air and ether elements up here in the fray or the frenzy of life. So now you've given yourself some good doses of earth and water. Let's check inside and see how that feels. Okay, now we're going to start including the third chakra, and there's a couple students in this class, one of whom is pregnant and one of whom is having a post-op experience in the abdomen. So this next part of class may not be suited to you, in which case it's okay to be restful and then join us again after this part of the session. So you can also watch and appreciate or admire and send support to others. Not that they'll need a lot of support because they're, vigorous yogis on their own, but always nice to have some camaraderie. So I just moved a few things out of my way because I'm going to recommend the same to you. You're going to be stepping the feet out to the sides of your mat. So come over to plank pose. So third chakra is at the solar plexus, and we often associate it with a sense of strength or willpower or willingness. So in plank pose, press your hands down and isometrically forward. And then squeeze the inner edges of the legs towards each other. They're not going to touch, but if you squeeze the feet towards one another, the inner thighs will light up. They'll get stronger. Inhale. And then exhale, toe touch the left toes out to the left. Bring them back to center. Breathe in. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale left. Center. Right. Center. At your own pace. Side to side. And center. And then reach that into downward facing dog pose. When you come to downward dog pose, it'll take some pressure off of your wrists. Press into your fingerprints, your knuckles, and give a little lift to the heels of the hands. Breathe into the low belly, the back waist, the sides of the waist. And then exhale, plank pose, right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, left knee, left elbow, plank. Inhale, downward dog. Continue. Make the breath smooth. We'll do one more on each side. And exhale. And then touch the knees down and come to Vajrasana, come to kneeling. Rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. The third chakra is the fire element and is governed by Pitta dosha, which also governs your eyes. So closing the eyes lets that Pitta dosha stay down in its zone in the abdomen. Okay, and now we're going to transition to including some poses for the solar plexus that have to do with digestion and rotation and twisting. So it's going to be liver and spleen and stomach and gallbladder. And we will also include some of that abdominal strength that we need. We need the sense of strength that we translate that as determination or dhruti, to have this kind of steadfast determination, even when facing adversity. The third chakra isn't really about willpower in terms of you individually need more willpower in the society that prioritizes our ultra independence. The third chakra doesn't come from an American society. The third chakra is about a sense of determination, dhruti, discernment, viveka, so that the willingness to align with one's dharma, one's purpose, is able to blossom. It can come forward. Sometimes excessive willpower is being used in the wrong direction. We're just trying to persevere to get through something that actually isn't aligned with our life. And that would be a misuse of our willpower or our strength and vitality. So we need discernment at the third chakra as well, not just this sort of forceful, ultra independent kind of thing. Let's take 2 blocks, please. Step your right foot forward. Come into Anjaneyasana. If you're pregnant and you're in the 2nd trimester, then put both blocks on the inside and make space for your abdomen and your baby. Okay, so in Anjaneyasana, let's invite the hips to ease towards the right heel, but not to sink or collapse in that direction. Then come to your fingertips and press down to raise the heart up. Inhale from the base of the pelvis to the low basin area of the pelvis to the mid-upper sacral area, the back of the waist, the kidneys, the sides of the waist, the heart. Now curl the left toes under. As you next exhale, straighten your left leg, gaze down, straighten the right leg. Inhale, lengthen your spine. We're going to exhale and roll down to Anjaneyasana. Touch the left knee down really lightly. Inhale, raise your heart, open your throat. Exhale, glide the hips back, press into your right heel, straighten both legs to the extent that you're able to, and inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, come slowly down. Left knee touches lightly. Inhale, raise your chest, your heart, open your throat. Exhale, glide the hips back. Slowly straighten both legs. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And now this time, exhale, bend your right knee and keep the left leg straight. Place your left hand either on its block or on the floor. And then inhale and twist to your right. And if you're pregnant, of course, you're not twisting to the right. There's not enough space for that to happen. So in that case, you can pivot the left heel down and twist the other way. So it's an open pose for you. So the twist is supported by the strength of the legs, but its primary driver for twisting is going to be your bottom arm, in this case, your left arm. So press firmly down with your left arm. And then exhale, return, right fingertips, left fingertips, touch the left knee down. Inhale, open your chest, your heart, and your throat. And then exhale, step your right foot back, step the left foot forward. We're going to ease into Anjaneyasana. Allow your hips to come towards your left heel, but not to hammock or be in a collapse mode there. It's particularly an important thing to notice if you do have hypermobility, if your tissues and joints are more lax, allowing yourself to lean into that laxity is reinforcing something that could become destabilizing. And curl the right toes under. Exhale, straighten your right leg, straighten the left leg, press into your left heel, the toes. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, bend the left knee, touch your right knee only lightly down. Inhale, raise your chest and your heart, open your throat. Exhale, gliding back. Inhale. Follow your exhale. Glide smoothly as if you were a swan on the surface of the water, not really making a big splash. No big ripples to write home about, just like a swan on the surface of the water. And this time, let's exhale and bend the left knee. Keep the right leg straight. And either your right hand can stay on your block or you can bring it down to the floor. I like fingertips rather than a flat palm. Press into your right arm and twist to your left. It's the strength of the bottom arm, the grounding arm, that promotes the twist of the heart, the solar plexus, the belly. And then exhale, lower your left hand down. Bring your right fingertips back to the block if you had left there. Lightly touch your right knee down and open the chest, heart, and throat. And then exhale and sit back to Vajrasana. Notice how things are feeling. Okay, take a seat on a blanket. Let's fold the blanket. I would suggest that you're folding it something like this. Bring the right knee up and touch the left leg out straight. If you're pregnant, switch the knees, bring the left knee up first, right leg out straight. So you're going to have an open twist, not a closed twist. Okay, wrap the left hand around the right shin, right hand behind. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, twist to your right. As you're twisting to the right, let the breath again be first chakra, second, third, fourth. So you're including this whole like bathing, internal bathing process with every breath cycle. You could imagine that you're bathing the organs in fresh energy and vitality during the inhale. And releasing the debris during the exhale. Okay, let's exhale, come around to face forward. Switch the legs. Okay, wrap the left knee with your right hand, left hand behind. Twist to your left. And explore the luxury of the inhalation. The strength of the exhale. And then exhale and come around to face forward. Now, bend each knee. Sit forward of your blanket. In fact, you can put that aside. And again, if you're recovering from abdominal surgery, or if you're pregnant, then you may want to exude support to others right now, or modify these poses as you like. Okay, so we're going to roll slightly back behind the sitting bones, but not that far back. So you're at the base of the sacrum where it becomes the tailbone, and come to Navasana, boat pose. Then inhale and raise your arms, lower the legs. It's called Dandasana. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, raise your torso and your arms, Dandasana. Exhale, Navasana. Steady your boat on the ocean. Now exhale, right foot down, raise up, twist. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, Navasana. Inhale, Dandasana. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, Dandasana. Exhale, Navasana. Inhale. Exhale, lower the left foot. Inhale, raise up and rotate. Exhale, twist. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, Navasana. Inhale, Dandasana. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, Dandasana. And exhale, roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time. Go slow. You're not just made of two vertebrae, so go slow. And then take the arms overhead if you've got the space for it. Otherwise, go under the furniture, which is what I just did here. Breathe in. Now, either bending the knees or using straight legs, raise them up towards the ceiling. And exhale, curl up with the hips. Inhale, curl down. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, down. Exhale, up. And inhale, down. And then whether the knees are bent or straight, now bend your knees, take the arms out into a T shape. Touch your feet down to the floor and relax. Now we're going to start explicitly including the heart chakra. So with the arms out in a T shape, bring both knees up to your chest. Keep the knees together unless you're pregnant. Then I recommend putting a block between the knees for support. And please come down to your right with both knees. Try to keep them stacked so that they're not going to separate like stairs. You can even keep the ankles together. You may take the right hand on top of the left knee. Something that I like to do is put my hand under the left knee like this so I can keep lengthening the left thigh. And then lift the heart, a little bit of a back bend, rotate your chest and your heart. Open your shoulders. We are aiming for the legs to be stable and ultimately for the heart to rotate in the thoracic spine enough. It's not a big rotation in your lumbar spine, it's really in your thoracic spine to help the left upper chest, to release the left shoulder, to release the left arm. And then inhale, float your knees up to center. Okay, let's go to the other side. So exhale, bring both knees down to your left. Stack the knees together. So if they got separated like mine did, you just resume the connection that you need there. And then rotate from your heart, your upper back, your collarbone, the upper part of the thoracic spine, mid-thoracic as well, and the head and the throat and the neck. If your right arm doesn't comfortably reach the floor, please take responsibility for it. So it might be up like the wing of an airplane and slowly coming down. But don't be lax and touch the hand down while the shoulder is curling up towards your chin. Your arm here is an extension of what your thoracic flexibility and your shoulder mobility can do. So be respectful to the shoulder joint. Okay, with your next inhale, raise your knees up to center. And touch your feet down to the floor. Let's get one block. My block was delivered by my foot. Take this block, please, and place it under the back of your pelvis. Let's start with it on the flat setting, just like this. Okay, so it goes there, and it's a super simple assignment. We're just going to watch the breath finding its way pretty easily into the low abdomen now. My hope is that it feels very natural to your body to sense the inhale, just lightly inflating the low belly and then lightly releasing that, almost like you're fluffing a bed sheet, and you see it in slow motion, right? That the inhale is able to connect here very easily. And then press into your toes, lift your heels, put the block up on the medium setting. Now we're going to let the pelvis be supported here, so a little bit of activation for the glutes and hamstrings, and then tuck the shoulders under. So this is a supported beginning version of bridge pose. And then notice again how the breath can make contact with the lower abdomen. And then deliberately practice in this position the inhale that's the first third of the pelvis and torso, the middle third of the rib cage and torso, the upper third of the upper rib cage and the torso. Can you sense that inhale moving continuously and smoothly, evenly distributed between those three regions of the torso? And the exhale, starting at the pubic bone, gently tone the lower belly up towards the solar plexus, but lose no sense of openness or inflation of the heart. Now press into both heels and make this your own pose. Press down, raise the hips up, put the block aside. So you're going to hold this now with the strength of the legs. You can clasp the hands, include the strength of the shoulders, the upper back, and the heart. You could hold on to a yoga strap if clasping your hands is not doable right now. That might be more helpful for those of you with hypermobile shoulders or with a sensitive shoulder, or if the thoracic spine is still a little bit stiff, then holding a yoga strap makes more sense than clasping the hands together. Now we want this pose to be steady and easeful, as we say in the Yoga Sutras, Sukham Stiram Asanam, that you could still breathe first third, middle third, upper third of the inhale. And the exhale does not deflate the heart, so losing no sense of inflation of the heart or the fullness of the heart. The exhale also doesn't cause the hips to drop or sag, for the hamstrings to go to Shavasana prematurely. The exhale is just watching how the lower belly hollows out during exhalation. Okay, and then exhale, lower your hips down, keeping a little arch to the spine. And then we'll take the arch out of the spine by releasing the arms and the shoulders. Your arms might tingle a little bit. And now we'll do a pose that from Setu Bandhasana becomes a natural next pose, Matsyendrasana. And what we do here is it opens the fourth and the fifth chakra, as well as giving light or opportunity to the sixth chakra. Our focus has not been so much on these upper chakras this morning, though when we have meditation, you can explore that a little bit. So I'd like us to come into bridge pose one more time. And whether you're clasping your hands or using a yoga strap, either is going to be doable for where we're going. So this is your bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. Breathe in. Now, when we come down towards fish pose, what you're going to want to be able to do is to sit on the back of your wrists or on your yoga strap, depending on whether you're using a strap or not. So if you're clasping the hands, try holding the thumbs together and flattening your palms out towards the floor. And then for everyone, palms flat to the floor, lower the hips down onto your strap or directly onto your wrists. So the hips are holding down the wrists and hands. Stretch the legs out straight. Press into your elbows now and lift your heart. Open the throat. Look backwards. If your head does not comfortably reach the floor because the upper back is stiff or limited, focus on the strength of the shoulder blades and the heart And put a blanket under the head so it's got some support. Look back towards the space behind you. Stretch the throat and the heart. And then sliding on the back of your head, you can curl your head down, shoulders down, release the arms out from under the torso. Turn your palms face up. Close the eyes. So that pose, you can sense how it brings us into the upper chakras, which are really used for meditation and clear vision and so on. So we're going to hover in this beautiful activation now for Shavasana. When you come to Shavasana, it's okay to close the eyes. You can also cover up with a blanket. Sometimes that's quite nice to do, actually, if you've been feeling ungrounded. It's especially helpful to cover the lower body, which could look something like this. I just flung my blanket over my legs, and I knew it would fit. I knew where it would go because of repetition, not because it's a magic trick. And then you can close the eyes if you haven't yet. And let's go down through the chakras from the 6th to the 5th and so on, as if you're traveling on a little boat on a river, and each little village you stop, the 6th chakra, the 5th, the 4th. We're taking ourselves back down to the 1st chakra. So relax right between the eyebrows. Imagine the pineal and the pituitary glands are revived or renewed by your time here on your yoga mat. Relax any unnecessary tension between the eyebrows. And traveling downstream in your little boat in this river, go to the throat chakra. Imagine the thyroid and the parathyroid renewed by this practice. Even though we spent more time in the lower chakras, it benefits these glands and organs as well. And travel down to the heart chakra. Imagine the thymus gland also feeling renewed. And traveling down to the 3rd chakra, the land of confusion about one's identity. So as you come down here to this village, picture the villagers realizing, oh, hey, they can relax. Release any unnecessary holding in your stomach, gallbladder, liver, spleen, pancreas, kidneys. And take your boat downstream to the 2nd chakra, near to the bladder, between the pubic bone and the belly button, in front of the sacrum. Release any unnecessary holding in the deep lower belly. And then travel down to the first chakra, the base. So the boat now goes back to the home village. A sense of connection to the earth, to the tribe that shares the planet with you. Allow the entire body to relax into the ground beneath you, to be fully supported. Moment to moment, invite deeper and deeper relaxation. Welcome the rest to go more deeply now, penetrating all the cells, all the minuscule spaces in the body, and also the muscles, the bones, the organs, your mind and your heart. as you sense the relaxation. Now allow that to be a memory. Allow it to be a beneficial body memory, something that you can feel in a palpable way. And then roll your head side to side. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Rise up to your seat. And here we take just the amount of support needed for the meditative seat. So maybe a very little bit of support, might be more support, but it's what's needed for your pelvis to have good contact with the ground. When you come upright, notice how you're recalibrating this new view of the internal world. Hopefully that becomes also a clear view for you in the outside world. And imagine each of the chakras from the base, second, third, and so on. Be particularly interested in whether your third chakra feels like the energy goes up, not horizontally, but vertically, and same for the fifth. You have a sense of that rising up, not going out horizontally. And then at the sixth chakra, an ability to see clearly around you, within you, a kind of clear seeing, we call it darshana. And seventh chakra, the energy is also going up, connecting to the cosmos, as we say. Please bring your hands together at your heart. Appreciate yourself for making this effort in a practice like this. And may our efforts also benefit the whole of humanity, everyone, everywhere, loka, everyone, samasta, equally out to everyone, everywhere. Sukhi no, may they have ease of circumstances, may their needs be met, may they have the resources for life. Bhavantu, may there be an attitude also of harmony and ease and inclusivity. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you also to my teachers and to my teachers' teachers. And thanks you guys for being here. I'd like to turn off the recording and find out how you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us for this practice. I do hope this was helpful to you and that it realigned your energy and your mind and your view of yourself, your ability to see the world clearly as well. In our post-class discussion at the online studio, we were talking about our personal sense of responsibility that comes from the third chakra to see clearly what is happening in our larger world so that we can personally be a part of collective solution. So whatever happened for you in class, I'd always appreciate hearing from you in the comments down below, and you can ask questions there too. But if you have a sense of how this alignment for you in the chakra system has benefited you today, please drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear back from you. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's meaningful to me and to my team. And don't forget to click like when a practice works well for you. That's always good feedback for me. Thank you so much. Namaste.